Hello, upper cervical doctors. Welcome to our webinar for this month. I'm Dr. Bill Davis. Very excited to be with you. Today, we're going to be talking about 4 ways to know if your team is built to grow. We're going to go through a step-by-step guide to building a team of ideal team players. Very excited to be with you. I'm Dr. Bill Davis, CEO and founder of UCM Practice Growth Systems. And we are here to help you grow your practice. If you don't know me, I am Dr. Bill Davis. I built a successful all-cash upper cervical practice before breaking my neck mountain biking. And since then, we've been helping upper cervical specialists grow their practices for going on 12 years now. We've been equipping doctors and helping them to grow their practices, doubled dozens of practices, helping doctors build million-dollar practices, add associates, add locations, start practices profitably, add CAs, new patient coordinators, office managers, improve efficiency, effectiveness. This is what we do every day, all day long, is to grow upper cervical practices. And we've also been a leader when it comes to content within upper cervical. We've interviewed over 175 of the most successful upper cervical specialists in the world on our UCM podcast. We've surveyed over 1,000 upper cervical practices in the past 10 years through our annual UC Practice survey. And we've written 2 editions of our UC Practice Success Handbook, Upper Cervical Practice Mastery, Learn Success Secrets of the World's Top Upper Cervical Doctors. And so that's who we are. That's why you should listen to us. That's why we do these podcasts. That's why we do these webinars, is to help you grow, help you grow your practice, help grow upper cervical. And that's what we are all about. And so what we found over the years of working with upper cervical practices is that there's 4 absolute must-haves when it comes to an upper cervical practice. You have to have a purpose-driven doctor who has the mindset that is right and is dialed in order for a practice to grow. You have to have systems for every part of the practice to again be dialed in and be really just not running on all cylinders. You have to have marketing to consistently generate new patients. And what we're going to be talking about today is that 4th aspect, which is a motivated and well-trained team. Without a team, a doctor can only go so far. We all know that there's doctors out there that are trying to do it all on their own, which is never something we'd recommend. We recommend that every doctor learn how to lead others, learn how to equip others, learn how to build up a team. A team can always help you to go further than you could go on your own. And so we're going to really dive in today on what it means to build a team of ideal team players that love growing your practice together. And that's what it's really about. When you have a team that's working together, your ability to help more people in your community, make a bigger impact, influence more people, and ultimately make more income grows substantially and exponentially. And so when we look at teams, we're going to break down today 4 ways to know if your team is built to grow. Because what we've found over the years is that there's a lot of CAs, there's a lot of even associates, there's team members within practices that are not the right people, right? They're not the right people for your team. They're not the right people to help you actually grow your practice. And so what we want to do is help you to identify if you have people within your team that shouldn't be there, or if you have people that need to be trained more effectively, and really be able to identify the team that you have. Are they the right team to help you grow to the next stage within your practice? And so 4 ways to know if your team is built to grow. These are the 4 we're going to go through today. Number 1 is that they care about your mission. Number 2 is that they have the characteristics of an ideal team player. Number 3 is that they are equipped and encouraged to win. Number 4 is that they want to continue to grow. Let's get into each of these. Number 1, they care about your mission. I'm going to give you an example here. This is one of our clients, Dr. Greg Dudson, fantastic doctor. wonderful practitioner and just provides really high quality care. And what we found when we started working with him is, he was in practice growth stage 1, kind of struggling with his practice. And a lot of it was because his team was not equipped to grow. And so as we started working with him and really started to putting in some of these things we're going to talk about today, we really got dialed in on connecting his team to the mission. And as they've done that, as they've worked together, his practice has doubled and now it's nearly tripled. And he's getting ready to hire his first associate in 2025. And so this is the kind of things that can happen when you really get your team rowing in the same direction with your mission. And it starts with them caring about it. And that starts with you, Doc, being able to communicate it effectively. If you are a purpose-driven doctor who wants to help more people, then it's crucial that you clearly define your mission, your vision, and your values, and you can communicate that effectively to your team so they can rally behind it. The greatest illusion of communication is that it's actually happened. So many times we think that, we've said something and that's good enough. Like our teams are just going to get it and run with it. But that is just never the case. You've got to get used to repeating yourself. If you do it, I promise it'll help your team be much, much better. But you have to be able to communicate your mission, your vision, your values consistently over and over and over, literally on a daily basis, be talking about these things so that the team can align behind it and continue to grow. And so it starts with making sure that you are a purpose-driven doctor. Is your mindset really dialed in to help as many people in your community as possible? Because we've seen over the years, purpose is the driving force behind all top upper cervical doctors. This is something that goes back to, the founding of chiropractic, or the development of chiropractic with Dr. B.J. Palmer. He recognized this. He said, a man without a purpose can be distracted, but a man with a purpose cannot be stopped. And so that purpose for the doctor is absolutely crucial. They have to have that big purpose that's driving them. And when they do have that great purpose, then they can begin to communicate that to their team and their patients as well. But they have to be able to clearly spell it out to their team. It can't be just something that they're hoping their CAs, their associates will just catch by osmosis. They have to be able to communicate it and have it very clear. And so that starts with laying out these 3 key factors when it comes to the communication of your purpose. And that's your core values, your vision, and your mission. Core values is the values that determine how you and your team work together. Your vision is where are you going as a practice? And then the mission really is the why behind everything that you do. And so the core values, this is a collection of usually just words or phrases that define who you are as a team. It's what makes you a we, right? This is what we do. This is how we work together. This is how we are growing this practice. This is what we do together. They're essentially what your practice is all about. It's a collection of characteristics that outlines what it means to be a team member of your practice. And so defining those core values, we have a great resource on our website. You go to ucmgrow.com. You can click on resources and practice growth tools. We have a core values brainstorm there that can help you with this. If you don't have core values, highly, highly recommend that you define them. But once you define them, it's not good enough to just define them. You have to talk about them consistently. You have to teach your team about them. You have to make sure that you're rewarding people with them, like that your core values are connected to how you call out team members. Hey, this is an example of this core value that you did today. This is an example. This is not an example of who we are, right? Both negative and positive examples have to be used in order to continually communicate those core values to your team. A vivid vision is the next part of this, and making sure that you have a clear vision of where you're going. You can ask yourself some key questions like what's your practice going to look like when it's done, or how many patients are you going to be seeing on a weekly basis? How many new patients would you like to see on a monthly basis? What's your target for collections? How many team members will work in the practice? What will your role be? These are some of the things to be thinking about as your practice goes through the different stages of growth. And a good way to break down a vision is into 3 basic sections. Who we are, that would include your core values. Who our patients are, right? That's you're focused on your niche, your target market. What are you doing? Who are you serving? And then where are we going? Like, what are we doing? That starts with all those questions there, right? Really defining all of that. What are we looking to do with this practice over time? So having that vivid vision and having that be part of meetings, having that be part of when you look at, where you're going as a team, where you're going as a practice is crucial. And then lastly is this mission. The mission is a 1-sentence rallying cry, right? You want to make sure that this is something that you are very passionate about personally, and then that your team is passionate about as well. It has to be focused on a bigger purpose. It should be a crusade for your practice. It has to get you fired up and your team fired up, right? So that 1-sentence mission should be communicated every day. That should be talked about. That should be talked about in your morning meetings. Hey, today we are going to do this, right? For us at UCM, our mission is to bring hope and healing to sick and suffering people for the glory of God. I don't ever go through a meeting without saying that. I don't, every single time I meet with our team, I'm saying that mission. No one on our team is unaware of what our mission is, right? I constantly talk about it. And so that's the same thing you have to do. You have to make sure that your team consistently understands that this is what we're doing on a daily basis. And so that is number 1. Your team has to care about your mission, but they can't care about your mission unless you communicate it clearly to them. And if you communicate it clearly to them and they're not excited about it and they don't care about it, then they are not the right member of your team. You cannot grow a practice with team members who don't care. They have to care. They have to care about your mission. They have to care about your patients. They have to care about your community. They have to care. And so, but it starts with you, Doc, communicating that mission, vision, values, and making sure that they are responsive to that when it comes to what you're looking to do. Number 2, they have the characteristics of an ideal team player. Another example, one of our clients, Dr. Pat Lynn, fantastic practice in Cedar Park, Texas. He came to us originally. His practice was doing about $500,000 a year, good practice. And we've been able to build his practice together over the past 7 years. We've worked together on his practice, building his team, building his systems, communicating his mission, vision, values, getting his marketing dialed in. And he's been able to grow. He's going to be close to $2 million practice this year. And so it starts with this. He's got a great team. He's got CAs and associates that are all ideal team players. They have these characteristics, and that's what makes them a great team and have a great practice and are making a great impact in their community. And so what are these characteristics of an ideal team player? We're going to go through all of this right now. So, this starts my study of this, my study of teams, my study of what it takes to build a team of ideal team players started when I started my first practice, and I was just terrible at hiring. It was hilarious. When I opened my first practice after doing an associate position, I thought I knew what the heck I was doing, but it was clear that I didn't, because within my first 6 months in practice, I went through 6 CAs, right? And that was a great lesson to me of, man, I didn't know what I didn't know. And I had to learn so much during that first 6 months about some of the things that I didn't realize that I needed to know as a business owner. And I'll tell you, it could have been frustrating. I could have just given up and said, you know what? I'm just going to do this myself. Forget it. I'm not going to keep hiring CAs and have them leave. I'm going to, or have me have to fire them or whatever. I'm going to just do it all myself. But I realized that that wasn't the way to help as many people in my community as I could possibly help. And so I continue to learn and apply. And the sixth one I hired was fantastic. And I learned why that was. And it's related to the ideal team player characteristics that I'm going to talk about in a minute, and also personalities. Personality types and profiles was very, very important to me back then. It still is now. Understanding my personality and understanding the people that I hired to work with me's personalities and how those either work together or don't work together. And so there's a lot of different personality profiles out there, and that you can use, whether it's the Enneagram or the Myers-Briggs or different things. There's a lot of different ones out there, but the one that I've used and I found the most use out of, and it's just simple and straightforward, is the DISC assessment or the DISC profile. And so that's the one I like to use. It's one that I've found the most value from. And the DISC is the 4 personality types that it breaks down is the D, I, S, and C. Me personally, I am a high D with a secondary of a C. So I'm a DC, right? And what I was doing when I hired those first 5 people is I was hiring people who were either high I's with like a secondary S, or a high S with a secondary I. Like 5 in a row, I had hired that type of a personality type, and it wasn't working because I need somebody who is going to get the details right. They need to be detail oriented. And if someone's not detail oriented, I couldn't work with them effectively. They would drive me crazy. And so that's what I finally realized, is I had to get somebody that had that detail orientedness about them, but also have that people person warmth to them as well. And what I finally got in my 6th hire was a high S with a secondary C. And that was the perfect combination. She ended up thriving my practice, eventually became my office manager, and was fantastic. But you have to know this about yourself. You have to know what's your personality type, and then what is going to work best with you. Later on, as the practice continued to grow, and with me and the 1 CA, and we hired a 2nd CA, what we brought in at that time was a high I. She was a high I with a secondary S, and she was fantastic, right? Once we had that person that was handling all the details, and me as the driver of the practice, and then we had this just great people person, bubbly personality. The combination of 3 of us helped that practice grow even more. And so understanding personalities, understanding that there are different types of personalities that work better together than others. And so understanding who you are as a doctor, and then understanding the people that you're hiring and how they work together. And so just a brief breakdown on this. You can get more detailed on this, do your own research into the personality types. And they're not, this isn't the definitive. It doesn't say that, this is exactly who you are. It's just a place to start. It's a place to understand yourself and understand others. You can use a DISC assessment as part of your hiring process. We highly recommend you do. We do that with all of our team members, and it will help you identify who they are as people. So a high D is decisive, they're direct, they're determined, they're a driver, right? This is someone that tends to be more task-oriented, very focused in that way. And this is someone who, there's a lot of doctors who are high Ds, but there's a lot of doctors who are all 4 of the personality types. And so you can thrive as a doctor with any personality type. We've seen great practices with all 4 personality types. It just depends on who you put around you to work together. The high I is the interactive, influential, impulsive, inspiring. This is, again, someone who's very much a people person, life of the party, that type of personality. The S is the stabilizing, steady, supportive, stable. This is a very reliable, loyal person who is a great stabilizer for the practice, very people friendly, very people connected type person, good listener, so forth. The C is cautious, conscientious, careful, critical. This is your analytical personality type, detail oriented, and is again very, very important, especially if details matter to you, which they frequently do when you're an upper cervical specialist. You love the details like I do. And so understanding these 4 personality types, how they work together, what you are personally, and then what your team is, makes a big difference on how you're going to work well or not work well together. And so, as I said too, as you get more team members, when you go from yourself and one CA to another CA, or adding an associate, or all these types of different transitions as you go through the practice growth stages, it's crucial that you have an understanding of these personality types and what you're looking for next. From there, we look at the characteristics of an ideal team player. And these characteristics come from the fantastic book by Patrick Lencioni, The Ideal Team Player, which I highly recommend. If you've never read this, this is a must read for all upper cervical practice owners. And these 3 characteristics are humble, hungry, and smart. And so looking at these 3 characteristics to determine whether or not your team member has these is crucial. Ideal team players are humble. Humble is the most important of these characteristics. If they're humble, then the other 2 characteristics can be developed. But without humility, it's a much more difficult process to build a great team member. So what does it mean to be humble? The great quote by C.S. Lewis: humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less. This is somebody that's others oriented. They're focused on others. They're focused on how they can make others, lift them up. They want to see you succeed, doc. They want to see your patients win. They want them to get great results, right? These are people who are others focused. They lack excessive ego or concerns about status. They're quick to point to the contributions of others. They share credit. They emphasize team over self. These are people that you want within your practice. If they don't have humility, that is something that you have to be very aware of, and it may be time to move on from that person. They also need to be hungry. Hungry team members are always looking for more, right? They're looking for more things to do, more to learn, more responsibility to take on. They don't need to be pushed. They are self-motivated. They're excited. They care about the practice. They care about the patients. They care about doing a great job. They're excellent at what they do, and they want to get better. This is what you want. You want that type of a team player within your team. They also are smart, meaning not just intelligent, but people smart. They have the ability to, talk to people and understand people and understand what's going on with them, and understand, they have that self-awareness. They have social awareness. They can understand relationships. They tend to understand groups and how to work within groups and the group dynamics and those types of things, and how their words impact others. This is a huge, huge characteristic of an ideal team player as well. So you want to have these 3 characteristics within each of your team members. And if you don't have all 3 of these characteristics, you have to identify that as a practice owner and try to train them and help them to grow in these areas, or realize that you don't have the right team members. And so if they only have one of these characteristics, right? These are, for instance, if they are only humble, or they're only hungry, or they're only people smart, in the book, The Ideal Team Player, he gives them some different names, right? The pawns are humble but not hungry or people smart. Bulldozers are hungry but not humble or people smart. Charmers are people smart but not humble or hungry, right? If someone just has one of the characteristics, it's going to be difficult. You're really going to need to train them a lot, but they could grow into somebody who is firing on all cylinders. But it's to be seen whether or not that will be the case. If they have 2 of the characteristics, this is a difficult situation because you get people in these situations and some of them will never develop that third characteristic. They may never become an ideal team player if that negative characteristic is too strong to overcome. For instance, if you've trained with a team member for months or maybe even years, and they're still in these categories I'm going to talk about next, it's time to move on, Doc. Usually we wait too long to let a team member go who is not an ideal team player, right? And when we let them go, we look back at it, we realize we should have done that a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever it may be. And so there's these ones that have 2 out of the 3 characteristics or these virtues. One is the accidental mess maker. This is a person that is humble and hungry, but they lack people smarts. This is probably the one that's the easiest to work with to help them develop more people skills, right? They're the elephants in the china shop. They mean well, they don't want any credit, but they lack the people skills to communicate it effectively with other team members. Sometimes they can offend patients, right? Their words and actions can often lead to frustration with other team members. They can contribute and are respected, but they may not have that people skills that they need in order to be successful in the position that they're in. Now, you might be able to find a position within the team that works well for them, something that is less client facing, less patient facing. That may be possible, but depending on the practice, it may not be. And so, looking at these kinds of people to see if they're a good fit long term is important. What about the skillful politician? This is someone that it can be very dangerous within a team. They're good at manipulating people and achieve their own objectives, right? So they are people smart. They're good talkers. They know how to interact with people, and they're hardworking, meaning they're hungry. But they bask in the glory of what they've accomplished. They're arrogant very frequently. They lack humility. And skillful politicians, they need to be identified. They need to be called out and corrected or moved off the team as quickly as possible. This can be a very, very negative type person to have within your team, and they can impact you in a negative way. The last one here is the lovable slacker. And this one's the hardest because in my own personal experience, I have kept lovable slackers on our team way too long. And the reason why that is because they have humility, they have people skills, they're easy to get along with, people love them, right? That's why they're lovable slackers. But and often other team members love them, patients tend to love them, right? But they lack the drive to contribute to the team's goal. These are people who consistently make the same mistakes. They do lack attention to detail frequently. They struggle with, just getting distracted with interests outside of the team, right? This may be somebody who's very passionate about, fantasy football or whatever, crocheting, whatever. But they're not as passionate about, they don't care as much about your practice and being excellent at what they do. And so this is somebody, again, you have to identify, are they a lovable slacker? Do they have, are they constantly making the same mistakes? Are they not learning from the mistakes they made in the past, or what? And so it can be a difficult person to let go, but it's usually somebody that you wish you would have let go, 6 months, a year earlier. So what you're looking for, Doc, is somebody that has the characteristics of an ideal team player, meaning they have the personality type that's going to fit well with you and the rest of your team members, and also these basic characteristics of an ideal team player. They are humble, they are hungry, and they are smart. Number 3, they are equipped and encouraged to win. So much of making sure that you have a team that's really dialed in and really working together to grow your practice is that they have to be equipped and encouraged to win, meaning that things have to be clear. They have to have clear expectations. They have to have a clear target of what it looks like to win in their role. Another great example of this from one of our clients, Dr. Barbara Reed, and her associate, Dr. Lee. When we started working with them, they were struggling together as a practice and really not thriving. And so much of what we worked with them on is equipping them and equipping specifically Dr. Lee, who is Dr. Reed's associate, to get clear on what was expected of him and what was expected of the practice in order to work together to accomplish what we're looking to accomplish. And as they did that, they saw tremendous improvements in collections and in performance and in patient visits and all these things, because they just had clear expectations, clear equipping and training and encouragement to win. And so that is so crucial to this. And so it starts very frequently with defining the roles, right? Every team member within your practice should have a clear role of what they're doing. What are they doing, and what is the results you're looking for them to accomplish? And the best way that you can do that is by having each of your team members have a KRA. A KRA is a key result area, right? These are the results that you're looking to accomplish in the position. Every team member in your practice should have at least one KRA. Most team members are going to have between 3 and 5, right? Many doctors have engaged with us, as I said, to do practice growth sessions to simply create KRAs and KPIs for all their team members, because it's such an important part of having a successful team member is being clear on what you're looking for them to do. And it's so frequently we think that they understand, but they don't know what's most important. They don't understand what we're actually looking for them to do on a daily basis to win in their role. And along with those KRAs, they need to have KPIs. KPIs are key performance indicators. These are the metrics that determine whether or not the results are happening, right? So for every KRA, there should be at least one KPI. It's a metric. It says, yes, okay, so is this result happening or not? Typically, there are anywhere from 3 to 5 KPIs per KRA. This is a crucial step in clarifying each of the roles for your team. And so making sure that they're clear on what you're looking for them to do and how you're going to measure whether or not those results are happening. And so we have a couple of great tools for you over at the website. If you go to ucmgrow.com, click on resources and practice growth tools, we have our hiring resource kit. This is a fantastic free resource. It will have a position agreement in there with KRAs and KPIs that you'll be able to modify and use in your hiring process. Because when you hire someone, you want to set clear expectations right up front. What are you asking them to do, right? Here's the results. Here's the KRAs. And here's how we're going to measure those results. Those are the KPIs. That's what a position agreement is. And so making sure that you have one of those for every one of your team members is crucial. And the other aspect of it is a job scorecard. So on that same page, you'll see another tool there, a job scorecard template. And a job scorecard template is a way to, after you've set expectations when you hired someone with a position agreement, now we're going to use the job scorecard to keep them accountable to those results, right? We're going to continually look at those KPI or those key performance indicators, those KPIs, and look at those numbers and look at those metrics. Are we hitting them? Why not? What do we need to do? How do we need to help you? How do we need to train you in order to hit those numbers on a consistent basis? And so those are two absolutely crucial tools that are free on our website, hiring resource kit and the job scorecard, working together to really get clear expectations for all of your team members. So that is the third one, which is setting clear expectations, making sure you're equipping and training your team to be prepared to grow. And then the last one, the fourth one here, is they want to continue to grow. Dr. Mercedes Cook, another one of our great clients, and she has just recently had a baby, and she was able to take a 3-month maternity leave. And the reason why she was able to do that and still have her practice continue to grow is because of everything that we've worked on together over the years at dialing in her team and her systems and her marketing and her mindset and all of that, so that she could step out of the practice and the practice could keep going, because her team members are wanting to grow. They want the practice to grow. And that is crucial for your practice to succeed. So many times your team may want to, they just want to keep things the same. They don't want to work harder. That may be the case. And you don't want that with any of your team members. So it's crucial that you hire team members when your practice is ready, right? We see this with both sides of it, either hiring too soon or hiring too late. Your practice will tell you there's certain metrics, there are certain things that you can look at within a hiring timeline that I'm going to go through with you right now that will be able to show you the times that are necessary to hire. Now, some of this is based on your patient visit averages and your metrics, right? So how much you're charging per visit, how much is your care plan? Those types of things can determine, and it can change some of these metrics slightly, but these are some good rules of thumb that I'm going to go through with you right now on a hiring timeline. So hiring your first full-time CA. What we encourage doctors to do is hire a full-time CA from day one, right? As soon as you've opened your practice, you should have a CA there with you. They're as crucial to your practice as your imaging. They're as crucial as your adjusting tables, right? This is an absolute must in an upper cervical practice, is to have a CA. They're going to help you grow beyond $20,000 per month as quickly as possible. That's what they're there to do. They're going to immediately make an impact when you do what we teach people to do, which is hire the right people and train them in the right way. They're going to become an immediate advocate for your practice, and they're going to be someone who is going to allow your practice to grow and grow quickly. So many times we see doctors who start by themselves. They open their practice and it's just them, and they will believe for years, sometimes even a decade or longer, that they can't afford to hire someone. And that's why we recommend just starting with a CA from day one and do it the right way. So then you can begin to grow through that practice growth stage one as quickly as possible and not get stuck there. The second hire is hiring your second full-time CA. Usually it's around $25,000 per month. And this is what they're going to do, is they're going to help you grow beyond $40,000 per month, right? And this is when you break down what these team members do. What we encourage is to have one team member focus on new patients as a new patient coordinator, and the other team member as an existing patient coordinator, right? Each of them focuses on those two different areas, and they really, the new patient coordinator is the one who interacts with leads. They handle all the new patient experience. They handle all of the everything related to new patients, the scheduling, the finances, all of that. Usually that's the second hire. If you're hiring that second CA, hire them specifically with those skill sets that are going to be used to really have new patients have an incredible experience within the practice, and then have your existing CA be the existing patient coordinator, interact with existing patients, move them through the office, talk to them on the phone, schedule their appointments, collect payments, all those types of things with existing patients, because they already have a relationship with existing patients. Hiring your first associate, you want to be doing that when you're collecting around $35,000 per month with a 50% overhead. And usually, $35,000 to $40,000 per month is right around where you want to be hiring that first associate. And then basically for every, hiring a CA for every $20,000 in collections, and one CA for every $40,000 in collections, right? So this is a great rule of thumb. For example, when a practice surpasses $80,000 in collections, they should hire a second associate, have 4 CAs, an office manager, new patient coordinator, existing patient coordinator, and back office CA, for instance. That's a great structure for a practice. 3 doctors, 4 CAs can really take that practice from 80 to 100 and beyond as you continue to grow that practice, actually all the way up to close to 120. We may have to add another CA in there as well. But this is how you do it, doc. This is the hiring timeline. We've seen this over and over with doctors. If you stick to these basic rules of thumb, they're great when it comes to hiring and when you should be hiring in order to make it most effective. And you've got to have team members that are excited about this. They got to be excited about, hey, we're going to hire another doctor because we want to help more people in our community, right? We're going to hire another CA because we want to provide a higher level of service so that we can help more people in our community. They got to want to continue to grow. You don't want people on your team that are just sitting around playing solitaire, right? They've got to be dialed in to your mission, have those clear expectations, be that ideal team player, and want to grow. So what do you do now, Doc? What do you do? If you're in that place where you realize that, you know what, I think I might have some issues on my team. I don't have the right team members, or I don't have any team members yet, and I need to hire some people. That's either of those situations can be helped. You also, maybe you do have the right team, or you have team members that just need more training, they need to be, just really dialed in more with some clearer expectations or clearer training. All of that is possible. And so, there's some Bible verses that I love to look at when it comes to this. Without counsel, plans fail, but with many advisors, they succeed. And, another one is, in abundance of counselors, there is victory. Where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in abundance of counselors, there is safety. And so we see, the Bible teaches that an abundance of counselors are people coming alongside you, helping you with things that you're doing in life is a good thing. And so, what about getting help from a counselor, advisor, guide for your upper cervical practice? What I look for in a business guide for my own business, and my practices and before, I've always worked with guides. I've always worked with people that can guide me and help me. And this is what I look for: that they understand the uniqueness of my business. Right? This is important. Right? For right now, I'm running a consulting and marketing agency, and so I have a specific guide who can help me with that. They have gotten consistent results. Right? They have similar values to mine. I connect with their personality. They have a proven track record. They understand the different aspects of my business, right? These are some basic things that I look for when I'm looking to bring on a new guide or someone that can help me with my business. So what about us? Could we help you? Could we be a good guide for you? Do we understand the uniqueness of your business? Yes, we understand the unique challenges and opportunities in upper cervical practice. This is all we do every day. There's nobody out there who understands upper cervical practices like us, because this is all we work with. We don't work with every chiropractic practice. We don't work with every business out there. We only work with upper cervical practices. Have we gotten consistent results? Yes, we have a 98% retention rate. So clients work with us, they grow with us, and they stay with us because we get them great results. They have similar values to mine, right? If, we are a company built on Christ. We have that is something that's very important to us. It's important to me personally. It's important to our team. If your values line up with us, awesome. Connect with their personality. Who doesn't like Tony, right? I may be, a bit of a driver and may rub people the wrong way sometimes, but everybody loves Tony, and he's the one who primarily works directly with clients. He is our director of client success. We have a proven track record, 12 years serving in the upper cervical chiropractic industry, right? This is what we do. I love upper cervical practice. I love upper cervical chiropractors. I love the upper cervical in general. It's what drives us as a company and me personally. We understand the different aspects of the business. Yes, we absolutely do. Our products and services are focused on the different practice growth stages and different budgets associated with each, combining practice growth sessions, internal marketing, team building, system development, digital marketing, and more. We know what it takes to grow a practice. We've built systems to help you grow your practices. And it doesn't matter where you are in the practice growth stages, we can help you. For instance, Dr. Andrea Pritchett, wonderful client of ours. She had been a solo doctor, meaning no CAs for many, many years. And recently we've been able to help her hire her first CA. And she gave us this beautiful testimonial video. You can watch it on our website that we talked, she talked about how we've been able to help her with that. So whether you're hiring your very first team member or you're looking to build your team or any of the other things that we help doctors with, we would love to talk with you. And so wherever you are in the practice growth stages, we can help you go from where you are to the next stage. We can help you thrive in the stage you're in. This is what we do all day long. Our mission is to bring hope and healing to sick and suffering people for the glory of God. This is what we're about as a team, and we love to help doctors like you. And so go over to the website. Go to ucmgrow.com, click on Start Growing. It's that big orange button in the corner, and schedule a time to meet with our team. We would love to talk with you about your practice, where you are right now, what's going on with your team, where do you feel like you have some issues you need to work on, what are your goals, where are you looking to go, and talk with you about how we would love to help you get there. That's what we're about, is helping you grow your practice, helping you win and succeed in all that you do to impact your community. So go over to ucmgrow.com, click on Start Growing. You can do it right now and get started with UCM helping you grow your practice into 2025. And as we always say, go team upper cervical.